And there came a day unlike... Wait, no, that's been done. Who knows what evil lurks in... No, that is that other thing. What has yellow skin and rights? Ah, forget it. You're listening to Panelology. Excelsi, oh damn it.
Welcome to episode 240 of Panelology. I'm Alex.
And I am Brian.
How we doing this week, Brian?
We're okay. We're getting there. It's December.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's at this point in 2020 when I think back to what my grandfather always said later in life when asked, "How are you doing?" He would respond, "Well, I'm able to sit up and take nourishment."
Yeah. That's right.
Weirdly, maybe not weirdly, I think it was very conscious on his part when he stopped responding that way, was like, when we knew it was kind of, okay, he knows he doesn't have much longer left. It was a weirdly conscious standard for him.
Fair enough.
And I feel like appropriate for this godforsaken year.
Oh, that's why I said, it's December. We're getting there. One more month, and then... Please let us have a better 2021, please.
Yeah. Well, speaking of 2021, we have done a lot of guessing and prognosticating and speculating. All of those things mean the same thing, basically.
That's why we've been doing all of them.
What DC, often at the same time.
Exactly. Yes.
What DC will be doing after Future State.
Yes.
And I know we don't normally talk about news outside of solicitations, but I'm going to make an exception this week because we've guessed so much and talk about some things that DC has announced in the last couple days.
Yeah.
So the first two books to be named were Suicide Squad, which will be written by Robbie Thompson, who's writing Future State. And drawn by artist Eduardo Pansica. I do not have any other information about that creative team. But the cover that has been shown features Peacemaker heavily, and we know he's a big part of the James Gunn movie and is getting his own HBO Max series. So that makes sense. Harley is nowhere on the cover, which kind of makes sense with her status quo at the end of...
And my prognostication for that one is she's going to get pulled more into the Bat family for a while.
I think she's going to be more Bat family for the while, and I still think we have potential for a Revolutionaries book.
I do too.
The next book up is Swamp Thing Ongoing, written by Ram V, with art by Mike Perkins.
That one we did kind of know.
I think Ram V had said this was the beginning of a run for him.
Yeah.
Incidentally, if you go on Twitter, there are some preview pages for a lot of these Future State books now, including the Swamp Thing book. And boy, howdy, is that gorgeous. There are also some preview pages for the Harley Quinn Future State book, and oh my god.
I can't wait.
Next up, Ram V will continue writing Justice League Dark.
Yay.
And is being joined by artist Hermanico, who I want to say actually may have done some issues of the book with Tynan.
That sounds right.
And maybe has done some Wonder Woman lately.
That does sound right.
I know I have seen them on something recently and love their stuff. Next up is Green Lantern, which will be written by Jeffrey Thorne and drawn by Tom Rainey, who are doing the Last Lanterns story in Future State Green Lantern. And then a book that I am personally very self-satisfied about, because I think I even got it down to the title, Teen Titans Academy.
Yeah.
This is written by Tim Sheridan with art by Rafa Sandoval, which is the same creative team as Future State. There's also promo art for Future State Teen Titans 2, its cover, and I'm going to actually message you this cover here while we record, because I want you to see Nightwing's new suit.
There it is. Oh, my.
Yeah. So the Nightwing logo is kind of a light orange to match the Deathstroke mask that he's also wearing.
I was going to say, this has got a real... Well, there's two things that it makes me think of. One is Deathstroke, very clearly.
Uh-huh.
The other is Talon, right?
Oh, yeah, I can see that. That does, especially that mask shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. This promo image also calls Red X his partner.
Yeah, which, you know... So, for those of you who may not know, Red X was a character that was created in the new Teen Titans, or the Teen Titans cartoon, animated, on Cartoon Network. And that one, I mean, the show's old enough now, I don't feel like spoilers have to really be called.
Yeah, it's you've had a solid decade.
Yeah, exactly. It was Dick Grayson.
Yeah. Now... I have a guess as to who this one is. I don't think I've actually had the chance to throw this one out on the show before.
Uh-huh.
My guess is Clown Hunter.
That was going to be my guess.
Yeah. Like, that X
Yep.
motif repeating, especially with it carved into Bao's hair.
Right.
Makes me think that that's seeding this.
Yes, that would be my first go-to guess, yes.
Yeah. And especially after this week's Batman, which brings Dick back to Gotham, like, the idea of him maybe taking Bao under his wing makes some sense. One of the things they've said about Teen Titans Academy will be that it is using the future state event of, like, the academy being destroyed and students and teachers killed as sort of this looming thing in the future that is
like
a part of
the apocalypse you know is coming, right?
Yeah. And then the last one that we know anything about is, in fact, a new Wonder Woman creative team. And we had speculated that it felt like Mariko Tamaki's run was tying up all its loose ends.
Yeah.
And that is because Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad are taking over the ongoing with number 770. And there is an absolutely gorgeous wraparound cover for this that has, of course, Diana on it, but also Yara Flor and Nubia and Donna Troy and Cassie Sandsmark and a bunch of supporting characters. Steve Trevor is there, Max Lord is there, Cheetah, Giganta.
Okay. Max Lord is there? Interesting.
I mean, if that's not Max Lord, it's his twin brother.
Okay.
Liar Liar is there.
Okay. Well, because, I mean, you know, didn't she just,
I mean, there's still an issue left. We'll find out next week.
Fair enough, I guess so, yeah. We'll see.
I mean, her name is Liar Liar.
That's true. This is true. And it is Max Lord, so, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to see if there is an artist listed for Wonder Woman, but I do not see one, at least in this article. And then, of course, we already know that Tynan and Jorge Jimenez are continuing on Batman.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is what we know now. A lot of the things we'd guessed at were pretty close.
Yeah, I'm not upset about the Wonder Woman. I just love Mariko Tamaki writing it, but
yeah,
I'm not upset that this is the change. So.
Yeah, we also know that there's going to be a Yara Flor series from Joelle Jones that was announced when the TV show was announced. And they're also developing a Naomi TV show for the CW with Ava DuVernay attached.
Really, that one I did not know about yet.
That was also announced in the last couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, so lots of stuff in the works. I think for anyone who was concerned that some of the Warner Brothers restructuring would be shutting down DC and killing its momentum, I don't think that's the case at all, based on this.
No.
There seems to be a lot of stuff on the immediate horizon.
Yeah. It would not shock me if part of that, though, was this focus on a lot of these new heroes, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like kind of doubling down. I think, because don't get me wrong, it's like some of this stuff had to be in the works already.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
But it would not surprise me if they are kind of doubling down on it and emphasizing it even more. Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is a lot of this future state stuff has been brewing for at least the past year. Like,
yes, correct.
It would have been the plan, some version of it would have been the plan coming out of Death Metal and Generations,
yeah.
I think, regardless. But let's get to this week's comics.
This week's books, yeah.
Batman Catwoman #1.
Man. You know, the writing in this just seemed really good to me. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Okay, can I tell you what my hands down though what my favorite part of this was?
Was it the future section?
It was not.
Old Lady Selena?
It was the Advent Wayne Manor.
Oh, yes, that was very good.
There's a Wayne Manor that's like an Advent calendar that is going to be each chapter of this as it opens up. And just the idea of that, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh God, like especially this future stuff, some of that's a little heartbreaking, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the one hand, absolutely yes. On the other hand, it is technically something we have seen before.
Correct. Yeah.
Which what we're referring to is in the future, Bruce has died.
Yeah, and this is out of the Tom King Batman Annual #2, was it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But that was the one where we saw like Batman in his deathbed.
Yes.
And everyone around him. Like Selena describes that moment in the issue.
Yes.
We also have the present.
So I guess we should mention real quick if we haven't already. This takes place simultaneously in 3 different timelines.
Yeah.
Right? And 3 different times of a timeline. Right? We have past, present, future.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Ghost of Batman Past, The Ghost of Batman Present, The Ghost of Batman Future. It's a very Christmassy book. Like, it's set at Christmas.
It is.
And it's got the Advent calendar thing going.
It does. And we get to play with the colors where everything that's in the past is in this orange tinted, these yellows and oranges. The present tends to be in blues and reds.
Yeah. And
then the future is kind of full color.
Yeah.
Which I thought was an interesting choice.
So the sort of main idea, the inciting incident, more or less, of this book is Andrea Beaumont shows up to ask Bruce to help find her son, who has gone missing.
Correct.
And who believes that his father is out there alive somewhere. And this is where I need to make the confession that I've never seen Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, Alex, you must correct this grievous overlook in your...
I wasn't allowed to as a kid because I was told it would be too scary. I don't know why. I heard that a lot as a kid. I think it mostly boiled down to my parents didn't want to go sit in a movie theater and watch Batman, which is on brand for Dad, but not so much for Mom. I don't know.
Okay.
And then, it was the early 90s. I wasn't allowed to watch it then, so it's not like I could sneak and watch it on TV at some point. I don't remember this ever airing on TV until I was, late high school, at which point I was like, this is a 20-year-old movie. Or a 10-year-old movie. I'm okay. I'm not. I should see it. I should fix this. But, what's the deal? What's the deal with Andrea Beaumont? Can you, Cliff's Note this?
I mean, kind of. There's really not a whole lot that you don't get from this.
Okay.
That she is, she is a one of Bruce's first loves, right? And was suckered in and used by Joker to manipulate. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, right. So.
And I'm pretty sure this one. I think over the years, if I remember right, I'm pretty sure there's some question of, is her son Joker's son?
Okay.
But yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
Weirdly enough, they had no trouble, and granted I was older, they had no trouble letting me watch the Return of the Joker movie. Even in its original cut.
Sure.
Yeah. Hi, Tim Drake.
Yeah.
This is such a pretty book, too. Can we talk about Clayman? Can we talk about Clayman and Tomu Mornay?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about anytime you want because it's gorgeous. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Moray, not Mornay. I threw an N in there. This is, like, I would just look at this book. Like, you could take all the words out, and I would just enjoy staring at it. Even the creepy shots of the Joker. I would just enjoy, like, the crazy good backlighting on the roof in the past. Oh, the past scene is Selena and the Joker. The Joker has beaten her to a heist. We haven't talked about that. Or like the inky dark sewer scenes, or you talk about the future being in full color. It's in full color retirement home pastels, which somehow remind me of the 80s and also like don't look like the 80s at the same time. I love it.
Yep.
This is such a gorgeous book.
It is beautiful. Yeah, so I can't remember if I mentioned when I was talking before. So part of the question of the son is his parentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the question of, is it Joker or is it Bruce, kind of thing. Like, so it's this, right. So it's like this, who knows, thing, right?
Gotcha.
And obviously, and the reason that I mentioned it again is there's a panel that plays on that where Joker is asking, oh, well, where is her son? And she's like, with his dad. And he's like, oh, you know who his dad is? And she says, yes. Right? Will you kill him for me? And when she says with his dad, they have Batman as the picture. So they're obviously playing on, is it this? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. How about DCeased Dead Planet number 6? Or do you want to start with Hope It World's End number 15 since it's the last issue?
Yeah, let's start at Hope It World's End just because this is the last issue of this one. This is,
yes.
This is our digital release book, and it's the last issue, and this is like the prequel. This is the one that comes before the original DCeased story. Right?
I mean, this one kind of fits in during.
I mean, yeah. I guess so, right?
It's more of a midquel.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. There's some things about this one in particular, though, that I really love. I like how it's able to play with some of these characters that we have been introduced to recently, right? But use them so differently.
Yes. I
think that's what I like most about it. Because you get like Wink, right? And you get Pied Piper in this.
And Pied Piper is done playing.
He is done playing. Good God. And let me tell you, when he says he's done playing, you best GTFO because he's done playing. All right.
I feel like this entire series sets up one really great pun, and that is my style.
Well, and what I absolutely love is they're calling him on it, right?
Yes.
They're like, oh, how long have you had that planned? He was like, what? I just came up with it and had to use. Okay, no, I've been holding that one forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we basically, right, there's this army that's being led by Black Adam. This undead army, I should point out, being led by Black Adam and Nightshade, right? And obviously with the power of Black Adam and the abilities of Nightshade to teleport through stuff, through the dark dimension, they're having, like, they know they can't hold out against them. So this is the one where Jimmy baits Lex Luthor into coming up with a plan.
Yes.
To stop them. And he does, but it turns out Soups and Jimmy have been kind of playing Lex Luthor.
Yeah. And they have
so
adjusted
Lex's
the
plan is essentially, Lex's plan is for Wink and Pied Piper to play his pipes and lead the zombies through a dark dimension door, through a portal into the dark dimension, right? And then for Wink to, once they're all in the dark dimension, to shoot Nightshade and therefore obviously trap them all there.
Yeah.
Including Pied Piper and Wink. So
Right.
it's a suicide mission for them. Yeah. But of course, you know, the heroes aren't having any of that. So first of all, the idea is for Wonder Woman to kill Black Adam, and for them to force him to say Shazam, change him back into you know, his mortal form, and then for her to break his neck.
Basically, Maxwell Lordum.
Exactly. Yeah, that was not lost on me. But Superman instead, once he's back, uses his heat vision to basically sear his vocal cords so he can't talk.
Yep.
And therefore can't say Shazam and change back. Aerie is having none of this Wink running off and leaving them. So
Aerie to the rescue.
Aerie to the rescue. Yeah, so what we're talking about is basically the reason Wink was part of this was because she was teleporting Pied Piper to keep him away from head of the armies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Ari brings Nightshade to them, and Wink gets ready to shoot Nightshade, and then who is it that is it who does the beam that breaks the gun? Oh, it's Black Manta. That's who it is. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
I was like, I know I saw this because it kind of comes out of nowhere, right? And so the gun she was going to use to shoot Nightshade is, you know, destroyed. So Nightshade's just in front of him.
It hits Aerie's wing as well, so Aerie can't fly now.
Exactly. And Wink's like, okay, Piper, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And he's like, no, we're staying. She's like, what? And this is where he says it, right? He's like, yeah, I'm done playing. And then takes the flute and stabs it through Nightshade's head.
How much arm strength does it take to stab someone? I mean, through the eye socket, even. With a flute.
I mean, just, yeah.
Especially if they're properly tuned, they're not sharp.
Nope. Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right, that's it, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, so, you know, and then we cut back to Lex Luthor saying, yeah, so I hope you know this was sorry, folks, this was a suicide mission. They're gone. And Wink comes back through just as the portal's closing with them. Yeah. Right? And I like, one of my favorite things is that Pied Piper, like, has Hartley, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I just love that, like, the use of him as a character is like so different from what we've had in, like, Flash or anything else.
Yes.
And I love that these characters get a chance to be so different than, yeah. Super good, super good.
Meanwhile, Dead Planet number 6. Constantine gets an upgrade or two.
Yeah, can I tell you how much I love Constantine in this?
So much, so much.
Just because he is 100% still Constantine, right?
Uh-huh.
But he's done trying to, like, trick people into doing it so much. At least the people that are close to him and mean a lot to him. He's not trying to fool them. He's literally just going, I'm not telling you. And they're like, why won't you tell me? Because you'll try and stop me.
Yeah.
Can you just trust me?
Please trust me, otherwise we fight and it doesn't go well and I still do it, so let's just not.
Yeah, but, like, he's so like, you know, when you say, why don't you just be honest with them and trust that your friends will, you know, like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or his approach he takes with, say, the Spectre and the Phantom Stranger of,
yes.
Wait, why are you helping him? Oh, he showed me the future and yeah, there's no other way.
Like, I know I've done some shade shit in the past, but, like, legit, this is what has to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love some comments that he makes with Zatanna too,
mm-hmm.
right? About, like, you know, Why is it that she's the only one that I really hate disappointing?
Yeah.
Right? It's just so good. But, oh my word, yeah. Just so... Then when she does walk in on him and Etrigan and Phantom Stranger and, ripping the helm of Naboo off of Dr. Fate, and Zatanna walks in, she's like, John? He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is exactly as bad as it looks.
I couldn't help but think of an opening page of a Matt Fraction Hawkeye issue. Okay, this looks bad.
Yes, right? 100% that same vibe of Widow walking in, right? And catching him doing something. Yes.
On a side note, have you seen the production stills from Hawkeye this week?
No.
Confirmed, essentially, because she's in every shot with Clint and a blonde dog, Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop.
Yos.
There are lots of pictures of the two of them and what is presumably Lucky.
Oh my god, this is gonna be good stuff.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
In one of them, he's got tiny band-aids over injuries on his forehead. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then, of course, his last line is just, ready or not world, I'm coming to fucking save you. It's just so... Oh, it's good stuff. I love this series.
Yeah. So, in addition to Constantine's glow-up, we have the sort of more traditional heroes...
Yes.
Working on the cure.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the getting Alec Holland's consciousness to join in.
Yes.
And just everyone networking their brains.
So, so they're Cyborg is like, yeah, I have the cure, but I don't know how to, I have the life equation, but I don't know how to make it into a cure, right? And so, this Batman being Damian now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like, oh, I know. And so he basically, they get this group of bonded people together to work on this, right? And, there's some very, very understandable people in it, like Alec Holland, right? Poison Ivy makes sense.
Yeah. Biochemist.
Right, biochemist.
We have a psychologist / medical doctor.
Sure, Harley, good.
Yeah.
You've got Wally West for the speed at which he can think, right?
He's the processor.
Sure. You got Mary Marvel because she has the wisdom of Solomon, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Vic Stone because of his understanding of technology. You have Dr. Fate because, his connection to magic and if there's anything like that involved, that kind of thing, right? So you got all these people involved, and then the best is, and Batman, because he's Batman.
Yeah.
I love it. This is good stuff.
So that's plotline number 2. Number 3 is the Penguin and Ivo.
Yeah.
I love this opening scene between the two of them where Penguin is hurrying Ivo up and he's like, I've got an army of Amazos, one of which could take out the Justice League. Maybe you want to reconsider the tone with which you are speaking to me.
Yes. Yeah, and the idea now is, right, the heroes have the cure and they can save the whole planet. Yeah. Everyone on the planet. You have Ivo and Cobblepot who now have this army of Amazos who can remove all of the dead from the planet.
Yeah.
And, by the way, then you have the realm of hell who is just done with this plane, and Trigon is now coming to destroy everybody everywhere.
Yep, there is part 4.
Yeah. Oops. And I totally, do you totally get the feeling that the Constantine thing is dealing with Trigon?
Oh yeah, I think it's gotta be.
Yeah. Because that's the part the heroes aren't prepared for. Right. We do get a shining good moment in this, though. And that is they have to test the cure, right?
Uh-huh.
And I love... what's her name? Green Canary?
Yes.
Yeah. Is like, okay, and Scott is like, we should rescue Barda. We should try it out on Barda first. And she's like, why not Ollie? Da da da. She's like, why do you think just because you held out this and that? He's like, no, that's not why. Barda's physiology, if something goes wrong and it's too much, she can probably take it. We can't risk Ollie. He's too important. She's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I also like that they made a hypodermic needle from a sliver of her sword. Like...
Yes, yeah. It's just wonderful. And sure enough, they heal Barda. She's back. Barda's back, baby. Yeah, all good. So good, so good. I love this book.
Same.
Yeah.
Moving on, Justice League Endless Winter #1.
All right, December event. Here we go. I'm especially after kind of how delayed a lot of the event type stuff has been recently with this year. Right? I'm super, super happy. This is going to be all done this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that this feels also like it is setting up maybe a more traditional sort of big crossover event type thing.
Yes.
This first issue, I think, delivers the beats you would expect it to, knowing what the story is. Something unleashes this Frost King in the Arctic. But there are a couple of cool ideas in it, I think, that I didn't expect. One is that this comes out of Bendis' Superman run. One of the consequences of the Fortress of Solitude being destroyed is that all this Kryptonian tech is kind of like rubble in the Arctic.
Yes.
So I like this idea that one, you've got Stag's son up there trying to mine this.
Yep, I was gonna bring up the point. I was super happy because when they said Stag Industries, I was like, are they just gonna ignore what happened in the Terrifics? And the answer is no. No, it's not Simon Stagg, it's his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a piece of shit, isn't he?
Oh, did you not ever finish the Terrifics?
No, I can't find volume 2 anywhere.
Oh, he is a total bag of dicks.
Yeah.
The whole bag.
He is just irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's stolen a mining rig from Stag Industries, and when his sister calls, he's like, technically I own it, and I can spend long enough tying it up in court to get what I want, so
yeah.
Bye.
Yep.
And he pushes them for samples with the storm coming and with them being on shaky ground, because they're sitting on an explosion site on a melting ice cap.
What, is that a problem?
Yeah, physics, who knew? I mean, he knows, he just doesn't care.
Right, yeah, sure.
And as soon as he gets what he wants, he's like, okay, you guys hunker down. And they put out a distress call for the Justice League. And then we get Barry Allen, who is asking a question I love in a way that feels a little ridiculous and out of place, but in a very Flash sort of way.
Well, and I think it leads to what we saw at the very last issue of Flash, right?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. It made me think, because I haven't read the last few issues, but you mentioned that it seemed like he was debating proposing to Iris.
Yes. Yeah.
And this really feels like him trying to get his footing to do that.
Yep.
He's asking everyone in the Justice League, how do you manage work-life balance? Which is just the best question to ask a bunch of superheroes. As someone who is a huge proponent of maintaining a solid work-life balance, I did appreciate that this is a thing being asked in a superhero comic. I love that at one point he goes to Batman and he's like, you know what? Never mind, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, the other one that I love is Aquaman shows up.
Well, Aquaman and Superman both give really good answers.
Well, but Aquaman shows up and he's like, "Hey, Arthur." He's like, "Sorry, I'm a little late. I had family stuff." And Flash is like, "Hey, Arthur, since you brought it up," he's like, "Yeah, I heard what you were asking everybody, Flash. I'm here with you guys when I should be planning my honeymoon," which I suppose tells you all you need to know about how I'm balancing married life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then then there's Batman. Hey, Batman, I've been thinking about. You know what? Never mind. And by the way, this all takes place while there's a group of like 4 supervillains who have decided that, you know what, we're just kind of done with all this. We're going to go find this tiny little island nation that pretty much nobody cares about or whatever, and just take it over and retire there. So they do.
And one of them is Catman, who I'm always happy to see anytime, anywhere.
Yep. One of them is Catman. And it's Catman and Rampage, and I'm not sure who the other 2 are. One of them is what? Is it Multiplex? Is that his name?
Yes, Multiplex, who I believe was introduced at the beginning of the New 52 Flash run.
Okay. And then there's an ice guy who I'm not sure who.
Icicle.
Oh, is that Icicle?
Yeah. I think he even says at one point, like, to Catman, maybe, like, you can.
Oh, yeah, I'm Icicle all the time. Yeah, he does. You're right. Okay. Yep. So, anyway, and, like, the cops show up outside the building, and they're like, come out and surrender today. He's like, can you guys just leave us alone? We don't want to bother anybody, after we toppled the government and took over.
Yeah. Well, and then I like Catman to Batman, like, do you guys not have anything better to do?
Yep. Like, come on, can you just give us this tiny little nation? Like, we're not going to cause anybody problems if you just leave us alone. I love it.
But yeah, as they're heading out from that Wally and Superman exit together, and like they have a whole conversation that gets again kind of into Barry.
Yeah.
Gets kind of into what's been going on in Bendis's run, where Superman's like, yeah, I really thought announcing my secret identity would help me balance things, but honestly, I don't feel like I've got a whole lot more balance. Maybe you should be getting advice from someone else on how to do this. And it feels a little bit like, I don't know, maybe this is just this issue, but I think you're right that it's going to tie into what's been going on in Flash.
Yep. Well, and the part 2 of this is in Flash. Yeah.
And certainly it's coming from stuff that's been going on in Superman, because we had like the great issues with Superman and Dr. Fate like talking through Superman's stressors.
Yep.
And like knowing that we've got a Teen Titans Academy book coming up where they're like training more heroes, it does kind of feel like maybe we're getting the Justice League saying, okay, you know what, if we're ever going to be happy, healthy people, Batman aside, maybe.
Well, but think about where Batman has been for the last 2.5 years.
Oh, I know. I'm
right.
Half joking there.
Yeah.
Point being, like, maybe this is something that kind of carries forward into what comes after Future State in a way.
Yeah, like, I definitely think it will.
Like, as much as we're seeing from what we already know, the Future State books become like the futures of the books that they are setting up. We've seen the future Justice League. We've seen the future Aquaman.
Right.
Maybe this is still like kind of what was speculated to be the point of Generations, giving the A-list heroes, the traditional Justice League members, a chance to step back a little bit.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, then we have the whole Simon, or I can't remember his name. Simon Sagg's son.
Sebastian?
Sebastian. That's it. Yeah. That he has taken this. So the Justice League shows up to save the people in the Arctic. Superman realizes where they are, and they start getting attacked by these ice creatures.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the Frost King emerges. Am I the only one who looks at his face and go, wow, he really looks like a Zarnian?
He does, now that you say it.
Yeah.
Either a Zarnian or like an Ice Thanagarian.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's the really like profuse facial hair.
Maybe. It's definitely, and it's definitely the tattoo markings around the eyes.
That is very Zarnian.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's a page that's like a good detailed shot of it. Yeah, I can absolutely see some Zarnian there.
Right? Yeah. So he wakes up and he's like, where are they? And you see him having this image of Black Adam and Hippolyta and the Viking Prince.
Yeah.
And he's like, where are they? And they're like, yeah, we don't know who you're talking about. And, he kind of unleashes a bunch of stuff. And what we come to find out, essentially, is that the whole world is now being plunged into a winter storm.
Uh-huh.
And, like, to the point of, like, I think it's New York, they're saying it's, like, 50 degrees below zero.
Mm-hmm.
Like, super, super cold. And because we get a panel of, like, 5 different or 6 different locations, right? The last one is Kahndaq. And we see Black Adam walk out and go, after all this time, how can this be happening again? So he clearly immediately recognizes it.
Yes. And then we get our flashback to
then we get our
10th century Egypt.
Yep.
And we see the wizard Shazam releasing Black Adam to help fight what we presume is the Frost King.
Sure.
And he is there joining Hippolyta, Viking Prince, and Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where we end this issue. We pick up, I think we've got 2 chapters this week. We have Flash and
Superman,
I think.
Yeah, there's a Superman special that is Endless Winter. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is fun. Obviously, I think there is a question you could ask that's like, when is this supposed to be taking place in continuity?
Yep.
But I almost feel like that's a little beside the point at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are definitely
Viking Prince dates it a little bit, because he's the only one that, I mean, he was completely mortal. He didn't, like, live out of time or anything, so.
Okay, the 10th century stuff is in the 10th century. That is fair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. They actually do. You're right. I had forgotten they had that on that page. Yes.
But
you're talking about the modern when
the modern.
Well, very clearly, there are a few things that set it, right? Like, obviously, it's after Superman has revealed his identity. Flash is clearly, and Flash, it seems like it is right in between the last issue and whatever's next.
I guess maybe there's a little bit of maybe what I'm saying is maybe we shouldn't think too hard about what DC's continuity is right now, because I'm not sure everything totally lines up, and that's okay.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Well, and we also know Aquaman mentions that he's married now. So so that gives us some rough milestones to put it against at least.
Moving along.
Yeah.
King in Black. So, this is just me. But I do want to talk about it a little bit. I think the thing that is most interesting to me about this is issue 1 of 5. I feel like it's a pretty common structure in a big event book, especially there were lots of tie-ins and miniseries and all of that, that you get like 2/3 of the way through the oh no, the villain has won moment, where like everyone seems defeated, and I don't know, let's say hypothetically they encase the Earth in a giant symbiote. That happens in issue 1 of this.
There you go.
Like, this is already at its oh no, like we've called in all the big guns. I will not say exactly what Null does, but Null handily takes care of the Sentry in like a page.
Oh, okay.
It's not even a fight. It's just Null is amused and immediately done with the Sentry. Again, setting up just a great pun that I'm not going to spoil, even though it was spoiled for me. And like just about all the heroes are already off the board by the time this issue is over.
Wow.
I don't know exactly where this goes, and I love that about it. And that's on top of like, this is coming out of a run I've been digging. There are lots of cool moments and references to things like the vault that was built for Spider-Man to hide from Moreland.
Yeah.
Like that comes into play because Eddie decides he needs to hide Dylan so that Null can't find him, so he uses that vault. We don't know where Thor is at. Thor is mentioned a couple of times, but is definitely sort of the, like, one off-the-table question mark at the moment.
Okay.
But, like, Captain America is, and most of the mutants are, like, handled in this issue. So yeah, it definitely feels like something kind of different. It doesn't feel like just, the usual story structure beats of a big event, which I appreciate. We also have the Union #1 this week, which is maybe a 5-issue miniseries that's all a tie-in to King in Black, maybe not. I haven't seen Marvel actually announce it as just 5 issues, so it may be one of those times where, depending on how it sells, it could become an ongoing. But this is about a UK-based team of superheroes: Britannia, Kelpie, Snakes, and the Choir.
Okay.
They are sponsored by some company in the UK called Darwin Tech, and are in the middle of this, like, very jingoistic submit and vote on names so we can have this one team that unifies us all and shows us how great the United Kingdom and Great Britain can be, and blah, 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 right?
Is it Teamy McTeamface? Is that what they came up with?
Now, Brian, no, that would be ridiculous. It's Soupy McSuperhero Club.
There you go.
Like, one of the ways they're promoting it is with a Capture the Flag game, and that is where Union Jack also shows up. This is a new Union Jack, no magical powers, from the working class, so everybody hates him. And, like, they're having their Capture the Flag game, they're doing their, like, it's such a media campaign. And then a bunch of Null's dragons show up and start wrecking shit. And that's kind of where the issue ends. I'm enjoying it. I don't know what the, like, big picture for this series is outside of tying into King in Black. Part of the reason I picked it up is because with the return of the Captain Britain Corps, like, it seemed like that might become a thing. I think there's a lot of potential here, and there are a lot of ideas I really like. Part of me wishes I knew if this were an ongoing or just a 5-issue series, because I think the things I would look for and expect from it would be a little different, depending on what the answer is. But overall, I think it's a really good first issue. There's no grand thesis there on this one, just like... It's exactly what it sets out to be, and it does it super well. I'd love to see these characters get a little more room to breathe and, like, exist as a bigger piece of the Marvel Universe. Especially with, like, some of the stuff that's been going on in Avengers and in X-Men and all of these other threads that I think they could really tie into. M.O.D.O.K Head Games #1. This is, like, a good example of just well-written, funny, dumb fun.
Yeah. At the same time, it's not as slapsticky as, like, M.O.D.O.K was in Gwenpool.
No. And I think maybe the closest M.O.D.O.K for me would be the Alish Kott, Michael Walsh Secret Avengers M.O.D.O.K.
Okay.
Which is to say, like, M.O.D.O.K is inherently goofy, but has sort of an emotional core.
Well, he's always denying that there's, some part of him that was organic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, we even see sort of over the course of this first issue what start off looking like stylized, almost sort of a next wave sort of, like, stylized title card.
Yep.
Caption boxes that keep interrupting M.O.D.O.K.
Yes.
And, like, by the end of the issue, we see, oh, wait, no, these actually have their own meaning. There is something more to this other than just being a style choice.
Okay, so it starts out basically with M.O.D.O.K having this vision/dream.
Uh-huh.
Right? Except M.O.D.O.K doesn't dream, and that's what it talks about, right? And Am I the only one who looks at this house that he's seeing in the suburbs and thinks the Vision family?
No, you are definitely not.
Other than the mailbox is a duck. And that's
The mailbox is a duck.
yes.
So I've got a question for you, Brian.
Yes.
Do you recognize his family in his dream?
I do not.
So I do.
Okay.
They are his family from the upcoming series that Patton Oswalt is a showrunner on.
Oh my god.
There is like Comic-Con trailer footage from a couple months ago that you can find online.
Uh-huh.
I did not know until I saw that footage that the show is stop animation.
Oh my god.
It looks amazing. But yeah, that is his family from the TV show.
Oh my god.
That hasn't come out yet.
Okay. Well, turns out he's like having this vision or dream or whatever right in the middle of a job.
Yes.
Right? That the aim is essentially trying to steal a bunch of Stark tech.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I guess the TLDR of this is, you know, the council that's leading AIM now basically turns against him and realizes that he's having these moments, and it's like, yeah, that's too risky for, you know, for you to be doing this in the middle of all this, so we're gonna take you out, and of course that doesn't go well for them.
No. I mean, he is designed only for one thing.
Yeah.
He literally has one job.
So how did you feel? So there's one point where he's fighting them, and somebody throws some gravity discs on him, which drop him down through all the floors of this AIM headquarters place into the armory.
Uh-huh.
And we get a thing that says, you know, to fund AIM, we build and develop weapons for black market sales. But other times we steal and reverse engineer them. And we see MODOK coming back out of this with a string, tied to his belt, string of Deadpool grenades.
Mm-hmm.
A sword that looks a whole lot like a lightsaber.
Yes.
I don't know what that sword is. A by-hand gun that's very clearly
it's Star-Lord's
gun, right? And then a MODOK head-sized Ant-Man helmet.
Now, you're also forgetting the hard light Captain America shield and the
right, yes, the hard light Captain America shield. I must not forget that. Yes,
and the Herbie. Don't forget the Herbie.
Right, Herbie is there's an evil Herbie accompanying him.
Yeah.
But that MODOK wearing that Ant-Man helmet, like, oh.
Yeah, like, it definitely reads as, okay, well, they were working on some Giant Man tech, and they made it bigger, and it got stuck. So
right?
now it fits MODOK.
Yeah. And then we find out he's also wearing some web spinners so he can thwip like Spider-Man. Yep.
Oh, and he's got Wolverine claws on.
He got Wolverine claws. Like, he's just got like all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's what I love is that Captain America shield that's on his arm, right?
Uh-huh.
Covers like, you know, maybe 5% of his body if he were to hold it up to
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, it's mostly just there to protect his arm and like his upper leg, maybe?
Maybe?
If he stretches.
Yeah.
It's also got a Ulysses claw cannon.
Oh, my word. Like, all of this is so much. So he escapes, and at the end of this, we find out what he has done is he is fleeing and has gone to seek the help of Tony Stark because he knows something is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So much.
So much fun.
So much.
I also love referring to an AIM attack as a bee infestation. That was a great line.
That was good. That's good stuff.
All right. Meanwhile, on Krakoa, Hellions number 7. I love that the Quiet Council starts this issue just letting Sinister be theatrical and ridiculous and over the top and demand his Hellions be revived.
Yes.
Even though, like, that's where Xavier is and they're literally already working on it, they're all just letting him bluster to see how far and long he goes.
There was one thing on here that threw me a little bit.
Okay.
So the very second panel, it's showing Sinister here in the Quiet Council, and the second panel of the whole thing has Nightcrawler and Jean Grey and Storm. I thought Jean had to give up her seat on the Quiet Council.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there.
Okay.
Maybe they only made Scott give his up?
Well, and he technically wasn't on the Quiet Council.
Oh. I don't know then.
He was the what do they call it? The war leader or the whatever, the war captain.
Yeah. That's right.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just be a mistake. It could just
or
be...
maybe she had to give up her seat and they elected her back onto it. I don't. Whatever. Anyway, it was interesting.
Maybe we'll get an answer to that in a later issue.
I love Kate. I love again. Emma is just Let him go a little bit longer. I want to see if this crocodile will actually give us some tears.
Yeah, my babies, bring them back to me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then so one of the things that's mentioned in this is that there's confirmation that Wild Child and Nanny and Peter, what's his name?
Orphan Maker.
Orphan, yeah.
Orphan
is Maker. That they did not die in Otherworld. They died on Araco soil.
Yeah.
So it's agreed that they should attempt to resurrect them.
Yeah.
And they do, and they're not quite the same.
Yeah, it basically reads as... So they talk about the destructive power surge that happened before they tried to resuscitate Rockslide.
Right.
And
we're basically the backup of him was destroyed. So when they brought him back, it was like this random thing of all possibilities.
Yeah.
Right.
And this was a similar surge that was not as destructive, but did affect the records for these 3 mutants.
Right. Like, it didn't destroy them. It, as they said, honed them.
It reads to me like, if you die in an alternate world, you are revived as that world's version of you.
Yes, that's kind of how it reads to me as well.
Which makes me wonder if we're going to get a beat at some point where, like, they kill Rockslide to bring him back. Kill Rockslide on this Earth to bring him back as this Rockslide.
Right, because like Wild Child, when he comes back, he's very, very much more in control, right?
Yeah.
And to give you an idea, it would be like if they were born and raised on Araco, this is who they would be now.
Yeah, like it talks about them being honed, them being like physically stronger and adapted for a malnutrition diet, for a scarcity diet.
Yep.
It makes, like, it's not what I would have guessed, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And then we get we basically get the whole team going. So Sinister, what the fuck? We don't know exactly what happened, obviously, but we know it's super sketch that you were the only one who made it back.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what happened, but we know you.
Yeah, exactly.
We should also mention that in the case of Orphan Maker, they're basically holding him in suspended animation so his X gene can't activate, because it would, like, crack the world in half if they don't have his...
Do you know what his mutant ability is?
I don't, but I can look that up.
Yeah, I don't either. So, and then the one person who's defending Sinister at this point is Quanon, because we get another page of intimation of this deal that's going on between the two of them, where Sinister is basically bringing back her daughter.
Yeah, so if you remember, what was that book called? Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels, yep.
One of the things we learned was that she had a daughter, and TLDR, go read that book, it was good. Her consciousness, her DNA, like what makes her is still trapped in this computer program.
Yes.
And Sinister has, like, isolated that in the program, which presumably, this being Sinister, is enough to at some point build a clone.
Right. Yep. So, and they get sent on this mission, as the long and the short of it. And so for this mission, we get to see that Wild Child and Nanny basically just rush in and start tearing stuff apart. And we find out that the person they've been sent to stop is Cameron Hodge.
Yep.
Yeah.
So apparently, we just don't know what Orphan Maker's powers really are.
Correct.
Um.
Orphan Maker. Okay.
Yeah. In some issue, at some point, his armor was broken by the Marauders, and he started spewing an unidentified caustic liquid. And Nanny has implied that his powers are potentially world-ending. Professor Xavier says, all mutations are gifts, but Orphan Makers would be a curse, which I think happens in this issue. I think
that was in this
where
issue.
they both say that. So yeah, we don't apparently know.
Okay.
We know that in his armor he has superhuman strength and resistance and energy weapons.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, that's essentially where we end Hellions.
Before we move on, I do want to mention the recap text in Hellions.
Oh, yeah.
Is the most amazingly sarcastic recap I have ever read. So, Mr. Sinister led his Hellions on a fool's errand to Araco. And so what if he happened to be the only survivor? His team obviously sacrificed themselves nobly out of a deep well of respect for and loyalty to their team leader. Even if they can't remember the events surrounding their deaths, they can trust Sinister's word for it, right? Absolutely no ulterior motives or hidden agendas there at all. ...
Yeah, it's like Sinister wrote it. Yeah.
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 No, it feels like it's part of his speech to the Quiet
Council. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then we get to X Factor.
Yep.
Which I am so happy to get back to them as the team here, because this issue's just brilliant. We get kind of the wrap up of this is in X Factor now. We get the wrap up of what's her name? The
Wind Dancer.
Wind Dancer. Yeah, we get the wrap up of Wind Dancer's death in Mojo World, and turns out that she was trapped there, and basically, the viewers voted that Adam X kill her live on stream.
Am I the only one who couldn't help but think of Jason Todd?
A little bit.
Death in the Family, like.
Yeah.
As soon as you have viewers, readers, whatever, voting on a character living or dying, that is where I will go every time.
Well, but so she's like, no, go ahead and do it. And they'll just bring me back on Krakoa, and that's how I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
So, right. So that's what happens. And sure enough, they bring Wind Dancer back. We don't really see it, but kind of, I'm wondering if, given what we now know from, and what we just mentioned, if she's going to be slightly different because she died in Mojo World, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the Mojo versus relationship to, like, our reality is.
I don't either.
Like, is it just across the universe, or is it actually, like, a different reality? I don't know.
Yeah. So essentially, the key points of this one are they bring back Wind Dancer, which is great. We've got them specifically iBoy and Rachel trying to make contact and start to understand the new Rockslide.
Yep.
And they basically, Rachel tries to use her chrono skimming and go back and, like, see his history, right, of this new character. And it turns out he has no history further back than when he was resurrected.
He's a giant baby.
Yeah. So, we got that. And then the third thing is we basically get introduction to the Boneyard headquarters a little bit, which is their place, and each of them kind of doing their own thing. And we definitely see another moment between
Jean-Marie.
Yeah, Jean-Marie
and
Daken. Yeah.
I also love the I think it's the conversation between them about iBoy, like, actually being as friendly and kumbaya as he seems, and it's not just being an act.
Yep. I do love, this was super cool. So if you know the history of Alpha Flight, right? there's a point where Walter Langowski does some stuff to Jean-Marie, so basically their powers won't work together anymore. And it turns out with her being resurrected, that is now gone, because that was part of her that was a physical change to the body she was in.
Right.
So they are now able to touch and basically create the Aurora Borealis again, which is something that was from way, way early in Alpha Flight stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a cool moment.
Yeah. And then and basically it's an expression of, them being twins and their connection to each other. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Then we get our setup for what is going to be their next mystery to investigate.
I like that we kind of have this, and we get sort of this montage under their Aurora. And part of what we see there is Rockslide and Lorna just hanging out on the balcony watching. I like the idea of Lorna shepherding Rockslide around or whatever.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, she feels responsible for him dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also just her whole thing is...
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, then we get our hook for what's next.
By the way, wait. I do have to point out, this issue does have my quote of the week, though.
Brian's quote of the week. Quote.
Where Lorna and Dakin are sitting there talking to each other. And he's like, it's when they're basically making the comment about iBoy being as kumbaya as he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lorna turns and goes, back in my day, I had to walk 15 miles in the snow, uphill both ways, just to have daddy issues until the ripe old age of... And Dakin's like, that is not right. Yeah, that's you. That's how you sound. No, it's not. It was good. It was good.
That was a good moment.
Good stuff. I'm happy to get back into the flow of some of these books.
Yeah, I enjoyed Ten of Swords, but I'm ready to see the world.
Yeah, especially X Factor. I really like the setup and vibe of this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is it still good? Batman number 104. Dick Grayson heads back to Gotham and fills Barbara Gordon in on what he knows about Ghostmaker, while Batman, Harley, and Clown Hunter find themselves in a sort of Saw-esque situation with Ghostmaker as Jigsaw. The Dreaming Waking Hours number 5. Lindy realizes what question she should have been asking all along, and Dream decides to let Ruin have his way. Which actually is not nearly as ominous as it sounds. Far Sector number 9, we learn about hard light food simulation technologies in the future, and why sometimes maybe the existence of illicit substances is allowed in order to create a chattel class. Strange Adventures number 7, we learn the truth about the person who not scot-free, Adam Strange allegedly killed at the beginning of this series. Atlantis Attacks number 5, Brian.
Yeah, this is the last issue of the series. This is stretched on over this whole break. And so we get a resolution of essentially what's going on between Atlantis and Pan and this new kind of Agents of Atlas and where that all shakes out. Basically, we get everything got revealed in the last issue and this one. So.
Black Widow number 4. So I had seen Kelly Thompson tweeting about being really, really worried about how people would respond to this issue, and reminding them, there's one more issue in this arc, and she's already working on the next arc after this one. And I mentioned that because, I've got to imagine if you're listening to us at this point, probably, you're not going to go on social media and yell at creators about things they put in comics.
Yeah, please don't.
But, yeah, don't do that. That's a bad look for everyone and a bad day for comic book creators.
Here's the thing. Feel free to express your opinion that you don't like what, you don't like a story or you don't like what something, but don't yell at the creators. That's not how you do that. Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. Let a story finish before you complain about beats in it. All of that is to say, I actually think this issue is fantastic. And I feel like if you've, I don't know, ever read more than, like, an arc of comics, you recognize, okay, there's more to this. But Natasha remembers everything and realizes that she has to give up her family for their safety. And then some other things happen.
Yeah.
Champions, number 3. Locus and friends, including Nadia, start a prison riot while Nova, Riri, Miles, and Miss Marvel, I don't know why I did half of them civilian names, half of them superhero names.
It happens.
Yep, those were the names that came to my brain first. Get into a fight with Cradle, only to be saved by longtime champion Scott Summers. Damn it, Marvel, why do you keep making me like Cyclops? Daredevil, number 25. There are big spoilers for this book that I'm going to do my best to avoid. If you are behind on this, get caught up, Brian. But with Matt now in jail and Elektra needing his help to fight the Hand, Elektra has to figure out how to make Matt trust her again. Fantastic Four, Road Trip, number 1. This is a one-shot by Christopher Cantwell that I've talked about before as being like Fantastic Four body horror. Oh, it is that. This is very good. So they're going to the whole family, including Ben and Alicia, is on their way out to the Grand Canyon for vacation. And Reed wants to stop off and analyze some dirt from a meteor impact. And everyone's immediately like, Reed, this is a vacation. Stop it. And he can't. And it turns out the Mad Thinker knew he wouldn't be able to resist it, and it was a trap to poison everybody and make their powers kill them. My favorite example of which is Franklin basically becoming this sort of very literal Mr. Manhattan or Dr. Manhattan who's like everywhere, constantly, always, to the point where like the Grand Canyon becomes full of just Franklin Richardses. It is a really solid done in one. Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 21. Miles and Cap and Prowler fight off Ultimatum and Green Goblin. There we go. And Miles is going to I don't want to spoil how this ends, but there's some pretty big fallout for Miles that he's going to be coping with for a while now.
Okay.
This kind of wraps up this whole Ultimatum storyline and sets up some new things. And if you like Miles but aren't reading this book, like, you are missing out. Saladin Ahmed is killing it. The end. Thor number 10. Donald Blake takes on all of Asgard surgically. Heavy number 3. Maybe Purgatory that has everybody, or has some people at least, killing evil people across an infinite multiverse is not actually a strategy for redeeming anyone, maybe? Again, a good book that's almost impossible to describe. This week's Books to Read there. This week's Books to Read. All right. We have some overlap in our lists again. Shocking.
Not surprising.
I know.
Yeah.
Sword number 1. Like, do we even need to explain this one at this point?
No, it's a new X book, and it's gonna be good, and it's got a big space station. I like it.
Yeah,
I want
it. Batman Black and White number 1.
Yeah, this is kind of the continuation of that kind of noir Batman kind of thing.
Yeah.
Stylized black and white art. Love it.
Yeah, like focus on high quality art.
Yep.
Anthology style. Homesick Pilots number 1. This is something I have been looking forward to for a while now, and I am super excited for. It is Dan Waters and Casper Weingard writing a book that they describe as a cross between Power Rangers and The Shining that basically is about, and like, I don't even know entirely how to unpack this, but the art in all of the preview pages is absolutely gorgeous, about haunted houses that fight each other like mechs. I need to read this to know what that means, But I am so excited at that creative team and that idea. And then last one, Brian, Heroes at Home #1.
Yeah, this is kind of a goofy little one-off about what heroes are doing while they're quarantined during the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
In that case, we would like to thank Chase Parker for our intro voiceover. You can visit us at panelologypodcast.com. Support us at patreon.com/panelology. Get merch at bit.ly/panelologymerch, capital P, capital M. Or send us questions, comments, or whatever at bit.ly/panelologymailbag, capital P, capital M. I'm Alex.
And I am Brian. Go read comics.